My name is Dr. Alam. I work as a doctor in a mental hospital in the city. In fact, I am known that I am good at dealing with people who come to the hospital. I do not look at them as crazy as everyone looks at them, but I look at them as sick people who need special care and care that may lead to their recovery from what they suffer from sometimes. Because of my good reputation, a decision was made to transfer me to another hospital in one of the neighboring cities. The hospital where I was going to work was a little old hospital, and there were a lot of rumors going around. My role was to supervise and make sure that all the staff in this hospital followed the instructions. I went to the hospital, and in fact, the first week of my work was good. But what is strange about it is the shape of the hospital from the inside. It consists of 2 floors and a basement divided into wards. Among these wards is a ward section called the death ward. This ward is so named because most of the patients, or even the doctors who enter it, never come out of it. Not only is this the scary thing, but the most crazy thing is that those who disappear do not show their bodies again. My work starts at 8 in the morning and ends at 3 in the afternoon. On the other day, I had a friend who didn't come to work, so I decided to work extra hours for her. And that day, I stayed up at the hospital. I finished my work at 10 o'clock in the evening, and while I was on my way out of the hospital, I heard a strange sound. In fact, I felt scared because the hospital at this time became almost empty, and there was no one else in the place where I was. I was in the basement checking the case of a patient of my doctor friend. I hid to see who would appear, and suddenly, something suspicious happened. I saw the former director of the hospital with a group of nurses running towards the death ward, and with them, a patient who was tied up. The patient was screaming loudly, but of course the place was completely empty of any doctors or nurses. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I know that the old director died about 15 years ago. While I was trying to sneak outside, one of the nurses saw me, so she started running after me, grabbed me by my feet, and with great difficulty managed to escape from her and escape outside the hospital. I asked for a week off from what I saw there. I returned to work and told the current director of the hospital what I saw. But he did not believe me. While I was sitting at my office thinking about what happened, one of the nurses came to me. The nurse said, "I want to tell you something about what happened with you a week ago." I said to her, "What's there? Tell me." The nurse said, "When my daughter was with me one day, I saw her walk into the death ward downstairs. I ran after her, and she looked at me, and her eyes turned white." The nurse continued her conversation. My daughter screamed at me in a very rough voice, saying, "You won't see me anymore." I fainted, and when she agreed, my daughter had completely disappeared. And even today, I don't know where she is. In fact, when I heard these words, I was curious to find out the secret that happens in the death ward. That day I waited in my office until 10 o'clock in the evening. I crept downstairs and hid in it. After about 10 minutes, I heard the same voice coming, the old director of the hospital, and with the nurses. This time, the patient with them was the nurse's son, and her specifications were the same as the nurse had told me, and she was also wearing the same clothes. Everyone was inside the death ward, and I really wanted to find out what was happening in this ward. Suddenly, I saw the doctor and the nurses coming out of the death ward. I decided to save this child and managed to get into the ward. As soon as I entered, until I saw something terrifying. There are rituals and talismans on the walls and candles everywhere. I approached the girl, and I saw something that froze the blood in my veins, the girl to the death ward. Suddenly, I saw the bed under which he hid shattered to pieces. I tried to run and get out, but I was hit on the head to lose consciousness. I opened my eyes. I saw my colleagues tell me that they found me in front of the death ward in the morning. I told them everything that happened to me, but no one believed me. The surprise was that when I searched for the nurses who were with the hospital director, I discovered something very scary. The nurses all died the same year as the previous director of the hospital. Not only that, but when I started looking for the nurse who told me the story of her daughter, I discovered something. In the end, I was accused of insanity. The new manager thought that I was affected by the patients I deal with in this hospital. I was suspended from work, and it even came to banning me from entering this hospital again. I lost my job and status because of this hospital, but I will come back to discover the secret of the death chamber one day.